Hey y'all, we are back with another Dense update. This episode is brought to you by CA Peptides and Herd Athletics. Here we go. Well, unless you were living under a rock this weekend, I'm sure by now you've all seen the Froning podcast, or at least the reel posted on Instagram, where Rich Froning talks about Brian Friend.
It's Brian Friend. And backstory is we asked him to be a part of this podcast.
We did.
And he tried to charge us for it. So, like, don't try to, that's just a whole nother thing of don't act like holier than thou.
And I'm sure just like me, when you heard this, you were baffled. Are you serious, Brian? Rich Froning asks you to be on his podcast and you ask him to pay you? What you should have done was said, yes, sir. Thank you very much. Do you like cream and sugar with your coffee? I would love this opportunity. Holy good grief. I've never known anybody ever in my life that overestimates their value more than Brian Friend. Many people, of course, weighing in on this. This was no surprise to some of the people in the media. They've known this for a little bit, but it hasn't really been put out there in the public until now.
Now, that is a great story that I don't know if we've ever told on the podcast. I swear I must have told it before.
You know, after the CrossFit Games, I really didn't think we would see much of Brian. He was very quick to be vocal about his thoughts about Dave Castro, the CrossFit Games team, how the whole entire situation was handled by CrossFit. He boycotted the Open. I really figured he would just focus solely on the World Fitness Project, the company that's paying him. I think Brian found that the interest in the community to boycott and not follow the CrossFit Games season was just as great as the views he's getting on his YouTube channel. And in an effort to stay relevant or feel like he still has a voice within the CrossFit community, going back and forth in comment sections with Andrew Hiller and Pedro, Hiller deeming him the most divisive man in CrossFit. Brian brings this on himself. He has no humility. He takes zero accountability. He is willing to throw anyone under the bus if it serves him. Brian just can't get out of his own way. I think it's about time you just see your way over to the WFP. We're good over here. Okay, thanks. Now, on that same podcast, Rich Froning mentioned that he has spoken to Will Morad. He did reach out to him. Now, if you remember a few episodes back, Rich had mentioned that he hasn't talked with anyone at the WFP. So between that time and now, Will Morad has reached out to him. He did say they didn't really talk about the WFP.
Will Morad has reached out. But we didn't talk about anything to do with the WFP. So it's like, I'm not against it, but I've not had conversations with people that would change my mind or what it looks like from the outside, because I am on the outside and the optics of it.
He didn't really get into the specifics there, but he did say that they had spoken. They also do talk about Kel Lehman just a little bit. Everyone is still wondering what's going on there. Rory did mention that they did hear he has rhabdo. However, that has not been confirmed. Kel hasn't made a public statement about rhabdo, nor has he posted his open videos or commented on that. There was also one moment on the podcast. It was very brief. But Rory is talking about something and he said,
Right, they've all got a proven background of doing really well.
I knew that was coming.
Did anybody else pick up on that? I made a reel of just that section there, and Proven actually commented, say my name, and Rich commented back, I did, which is hilarious because if you know, you know, when Brian had posted about squatting and then Rich said, say my name, because he never really talked about the programmer. It was just funny. Is there a little bit of a camp rivalry there? Is that really a thing? I mean, we don't really hear a lot from coaches and athletes about camps specifically. Everybody seems to coexist pretty peacefully, but is there a bit of an unspoken rivalry there? Now, let's get into the age group semifinals debacle, because that is another thing that happened over the weekend. That was going on while Mayhem Classic was going on. This one I wanted to dig into quite deeper. So first, let's start with the judges. There are judges who participated in the semifinal process for the age group athletes, teenagers, masters, etc., who didn't have current level 1 credentials. And my first initial thoughts about this, without even looking into anything or reading anything other than what I saw on the Instagram post, how do you not know your credentials are expired? And then I'm thinking, okay, well, who asked you to be a judge. And when they asked you, did you relate to them that you didn't have the proper credentials in order to be a head judge or a floor judge? Now, CrossFit put out a statement in regards to this.
Basically, in this article somewhere, they basically say it was an organization of judges. And the only organization of judges I know is the ASJ or ASF or
an outside entity.
AFA.
AFJ.
To me, I don't know a lot about these guys, but they're no different than the PFAA. They're just a bunch of fucking yahoos who are fucking trying to muscle in, and fucking all that shit fucking annoys the fuck out of me.
Many of the involved athletes took the extra step to secure a head judge from an outside entity where they expected a qualified judging environment. Unfortunately, they did not receive that. And we do know that the AFJ was on site at Mayhem Classic. We do know that they were also helping out with some of the judging of the age group athletes. I'm looking at this from all sides. AFJ, if you are going to send out to help with a competition, I would hope that you read through the rule book. If you are an athlete who is competing with hopes of making it to the CrossFit Games, you should be reading the rule book in its entirety as it pertains to you. And don't just read it once, read it twice. If you are asked to help be a head judge or a floor judge, you should be reading the rule book. I do not understand how this is so hard for people to comprehend. It's like my granddaddy always said, if you want something done right, you do it yourself. So first and foremost, I don't care who you are, if this is your score, it is up to you to always know. And there is a trainer directory on the CrossFit website. And I'm pretty sure I read a comment somewhere where they said March 27th, CrossFit sent out a link saying, here's the trainer directory. Make sure your judges have credentials. If you're not paying attention to this stuff, then I guess you don't want it that bad. And then you can come at me with all the excuses in the world, but I am one of those people who stand by the old saying, excuses are like buttholes. Everyone's got them and they all friggin' stink. I understand this sucks, okay? Because I did a little bit of digging, and the Mayhem athletes, and for instance, a teenage athlete, Miley, she was judged by Coach Dom, and the head judge was Brian Clapp. I also noticed Brian Clapp judged another athlete, Christina Leclerc. So he was the head judge for multiple athletes while at Mayhem. He is a part of the Association of Fitness Judges, the AFJ. He does not have an L1 as far as I can tell. If it is current, it's not listed on the trainer directory. Those scores that he is a part of have been zeroed out. And I did reach out to him to see if he wanted to comment. I did not hear back. I did notice that the barbell spin posted this morning, which also included this information. So it's out there and it's really easy to see. You can go to the leaderboard and you can see all the zero scores, and you can open up the thing and you can see who both judges are. But let me just say, I've seen in the comment sections that people are saying CrossFit made this decision because they're playing favorites to CrossFit Mayhem. This wasn't just a Mayhem thing. I found several other incidences of athletes who do not go to CrossFit Mayhem who faced a similar fate. One of their judges did not have a CrossFit credential. Therefore, their scores have been zeroed out. So the people in the comment section saying CrossFit is playing favorites, shut up. You're wrong. No, they're not. I understand CrossFit is trying to be accommodating to some of these athletes to help them because this is the first time they've implemented this. I miss the days when the rules were you follow the rules or you got a zero. They didn't listen to the outside opinions. They didn't listen to anyone in the community. They did what they did. If you didn't like it, tough shit. I'm a little old school in the fact that I don't mind that. I know it sucks, but there are valuable lessons to be learned when you make mistakes like that. We've all heard about the athletes who didn't get their videos uploaded in time. They didn't refresh the page to make sure it fully uploaded. They didn't get a score. They didn't get to go to semifinals or regionals. Now, there are people that are upset with the fact that because they've made this exception, everyone who's spent the money and spent the time to pay for people to take the advanced judges course and take time out of their day to help these athletes, that they now feel like they were cheated of something and they want refunds. The AFJ has not released a statement in regards to this and in regards to their judges that were a part of this, at least not over the weekend. I don't know if they will. I remember last time with the quarterfinal issues and they had judges and everyone got penalized. I think it was about a week or so before they actually put out a statement. So maybe they will, maybe we'll hear something. But as for CrossFit making this call, I think they're just doing the best thing they think they can at this point. They want to make sure the right people get to the games. It's going to be a few days before CrossFit is done with this review process. I would imagine once this is all over However, we'll hear some more from them. I do know that they are scheduled to have a meeting with the CrossFit Athlete Council to discuss all this. Also, over the weekend, a few things you might have missed. CrossFit Invictus put out a video of some team training. It does appear as if Danny Speegle will be on a team this year. I know I had heard the rumor about this at the beginning of the year, but you can never really be too sure. But I think this is actually a smart move. She's never going to be inside the top 10. Her moving over to team makes sense. And then she's also doing WFP. I also noticed that MetFix announced they're going to have their first foundation seminar. That'll be on May 31st, and it's being hosted at Rogue Fitness. They got the whole gang back together to help create this foundation seminar. So I wonder who's going to be teaching it. CrossFit seminar staff? Something that I don't think a lot of people talked about. Andrew Hiller posted a video of James Sprague doing backflips at the Arnold Classic with Matt Frazier and Ariel Lowen.
What makes me the most nervous right now is probably just the first one with the running, because I haven't been able to run much on my ankle. I was being a Dumbotron doing backflips.
It's called intensity!
A month ago at the Arnold Classic, and should have torn my Achilles, but I just sprained my ankle pretty good, so.
I did not realize until I was at Mayhem Classic that he was having some trouble there. Dave Castro put out a weekend review. Somebody on the weekend review asked him about Kel Lehman and if they were going to look into his open scores at all. And basically he said, until someone files a formal complaint, they're really not going to be looking into it. As far as he is concerned, it's just chatter on the internet. I mean, who would have to do that? Would it need to be the gym in which he registered the scores at? Because the gym has said that they can confirm he wasn't there that weekend based off of camera footage. Or would it need to be the 6th place finisher, which would be Jason Hopper. I don't really think he wants to get in the middle of things right about now. Jason Hopper in 6th, Jay Crouch in 7th, Ricky Garrard in 8th. I mean, I guess if one of them filed a complaint, then they would look into it. The WFP premiered its new episode with Laura Horvath. Now, if you remember, they had previously put out the episode with Jeffrey Adler. That got taken down due to copyright restrictions. At least it's not a video of questions asking her what her favorite ice cream and who her favorite band is. I know I'm on my soapbox with this one, but if you want to be relatable, if you want to resonate with the community, don't ask them these cookie cutter, surface level, ridiculous 4th grader questions. I don't give a shit what their favorite ice cream is. There's a good chance I've already seen it on their Instagram story because Danny Speagle's always eating ice cream. It makes me think you have a kindergarten teacher on staff who's putting together the list of questions that you're sending to these athletes. Not to mention, I guarantee you the athletes look at these questions and are just, I have to answer this. No, you're not doing them any favors, but you don't just put stuff out to just put stuff out. We don't need fluff. If you haven't learned anything about this community by now, it's that we are real, we are gritty. We want real depth, not whatever those are. Okay. But I think they did a pretty good job with the Laura Horvath one, since she's likely the front runner to win the WFP since Tia's not doing it. And since Gabby's injured. That is all for this dense update. Be sure to leave a comment, like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And if you're into this sort of thing, head over to my Instagram page where you can follow me there for all the latest happenings in the CrossFit community.